Okay. So in our first class, if you remember, like we had discussed one problem. So the problem was this: in a two-dimensional space, you have a circle, and in a two-dimensional space, to uniquely identify a circle, you require three values basically: x, y, the center coordinates, and radius of the circle. And I asked you guys to calculate few of the things like area, which is given by pi r square, perimeter given by 2 pi r, and distance from origin, which is like 0, 0 till center. This is your capital D. And then distance from origin till this circumference, that is small d. This was the problem that I gave you guys on the first day, and we solved it through regular scripting style of programming. So what we did, we wrote line by line executables. So we took three parameters, as in like I'm taking hard coded values. I'm not using that input functions and other things. I will just write the main logic, whatever we had done. Okay. So we started with something like this. We had x comma y comma r equals to 3 comma 2 comma 1, let's say. Okay, so I took x, y, and radius value and then calculated something like this. I wrote print area and then 3.142 multiplied by r multiplied by r. And similarly for other values, I wrote something like this. Okay. There is a, like, from a software design perspective, we will not be discussing a lot of software design principles or anything, but just to make an analogy and make you understand, I will be discussing little bit about it. Okay, so from software design architecture principle, there are few flaws in this style of writing code. Okay, now what are they? So first of all, let me talk about dry and solid principle. Okay, I will briefly talk about these things. You can always just explore. If you want to know more, you can explore these things, but I will briefly discuss these things so that you are able to make an analogy, you are able to relate what I'm talking. Okay, so dry is do not repeat yourself. So whenever you are writing a program, once you have written a piece of code, you should not be repeating it again and again, is the idea. Okay, you should not be repeating yourself. Okay, now let's say I have built this application, I have written this code, and I want others to use this code, right? Now if others are trying to use this code or trying to use this logic, and maybe they will be doing few more things. Let's say they have two circles in two-dimensional space, and they want to calculate the distance between the center of these two circles. They just want to extend whatever I have done. So few of the things that I have calculated here, or few of the algorithms or few of the logic that I have written in my this code, they have to copy all of it in their code, in their thing. Okay, what I can do is I can write a function. Basically all this logic I can encapsulate, I can just bundle it together with all the variables, all the logic, all the related components. I want to bundle it together and make it available as a function. And so that, like, the moment you invoke that function, the logic will get called and there will be an answer or a result that will be given to you. In scripting style of writing program, what you write is you write executables. One line, every line is a executable here, and the flow will start from top to down. Like first it is going to execute the first line of code, then second line of code, then third line of code, and so on. Okay. Now, if I write functions, so when we do one or two problems, then it will be more clear to you guys. But let me give you the syntax how we write a function. So we give this def keyword, okay, then we give function name,
Sir, def is any keyword or what?
def is a keyword, yes. Okay, so def is a keyword. You give this def. Whenever you write this def, that means you are saying this is a function for me. You are telling your computer that this is a function. That's all. So def, and then you give a function name, and in brackets you will give, because whenever you write a function, that it will need some parameters on which this function will be working. All this while, when you were writing those input values, you were writing that input function, you were taking some input data from the users, and then you were doing some computation on top of that data. So your function will require some parameters, some values you will pass here. Comma separated values you will be passing here as parameters. Then you give a colon. So when you give a colon, that means this is the start of my function block. Okay, then you go one tab inside that. It means I'm saying everything that I'm writing one tab inside is within this function. Okay, I will go one tab inside, and then I will write my action 1, logic 1, and so on. Okay, and your function will also require a return statement. Now what is this return? This return statements here, like, you will give some values which this function will return back to the calling environment. Okay, so once you have bundled or packaged your code in this function, what you will need to invoke this function, you will need to call these functions with all the parameters that you have passed here, so that this function runs, function execute, and then it gives you an output. Okay, and that output, that will be returned whatever you have mentioned here in this return statement. So let me just write a simple code just to take two numbers and add them, so it will be clear to you. Okay, so all I have to do is something like this: def add. I will take two parameters, a, b. There is no need to specify, like, what is the data type of A, what is the data type of B. That is not required. Def function name is my add, and then I'm giving two parameters, A comma B, and here I will say, simple example, return A plus B. Okay, that's all I'm writing. Now to call this function, I will say add A plus B, A, add 1 comma 2, and let's say I'm saying some variable result equals to this, and then print result. So if I run this, then I'm getting a answer as 3. Okay, so what is happening? I wrote this code, I ran this cell, ran this cell, but the code was not executed. You are just letting your computer know that there is a function with name add which exists. That's all. The code is not getting executed as of now. You're just letting your computer know that I have a function with the name add which takes two parameters. So just be aware of that. That's all. And then when you call this function, while calling, you will be giving the function name and all the required parameters which are there. Once you call this function, this return statement, like here, like you have added A plus B, it will do the computation. The moment you call this, it will go here, it will do this calculation computation, and then return statement, whatever is there, the result, the value will be returned back. And then because I'm doing result equals to this, the value will be stored in this variable results. Okay, and then simply I'm printing whatever is there in the result. Okay, any questions so far?
Sir, you told that parameters that does not have any, we don't have to define.
So in a one function, how many return we can take?
No, you can just post on the chat group. I will just go through it, because I mean I will not be able to take questions when everyone is speaking, or maybe one by one. Yeah, come again. Like who the first girl who was speaking?
Yes, sir. It's newly. Sir, I was
Hmm.
asking the parameters are not, you told there is no data type we have to specify. So suppose instead of 1, 2, then
Hmm.
while calling that function, if I pass 1 and a, so what does it return? Because we have to say
If no, one second. If
yes, sir. One integer and one string I pass, and I
uh-huh,
pass to return HSD. And what will be the data type for the return? The
one, and then you specify some string value.
yes,
So here, like what will happen? The moment you call this function, it will go here and it will say return a plus b. It will try to add an integral value and a string value. In normal scenarios, when you try to add integral values and a string value, what happens? Like if you normally do 1
it gives
plus,
error. Yes,
it will give you error, right? If you do 1 plus abc, it will give you error.
yes,
So the same thing will happen here. If I run this, same thing will happen. It will give me an error.
so you told we don't have to specify the data type. That's why I was just checking whether it is our responsibility to pass the parameter correctly or the code we need to handle or how it is. And
it,
the
it's
return,
it's our responsibility always. Whenever you are calling a function, it's your responsibility to correct the correct parameters and the correct data.
okay, and the
Otherwise the code is going to fail. Any function which is there, like all the functions that we have discussed so far for list, dictionary, or anything, it was our responsibility to pass correct parameters or the correct data.
and the return type also depends on us whether we want to return it in the string format, integer format, or
Exactly, the see, in we have discussed this, right? Like
okay, I got it.
Python is a dynamically, let me complete. Python is a dynamically typed language. Okay. So when you assign variable, like when you assign some value to a variable, whatever value you have taken or whatever value you are assigning to the variable, the same data type will be given to that variable. Okay. Similarly, when you are returning after doing some computation, after doing some calculation, the moment you return whatever data type is there of that return, that will be the result that will be output by that function call.
Okay, so I got another thing is that you told the number of arguments that will be passing. Sometimes it should be irrespective of the numbers, like how we
No,
are.
forget about that assignment problem. Forget about that assignment
No,
problem. This
I'm not
uh,
asking about the assignment exactly, but I'm telling if in case of AB, can I pass a list so that I can get the random items,
you
whatever,
see,
instead of passing B or
if you
A.
pass, okay, let me clear this. If you pass a list here, are you handling a list? Are you doing any calculation or computation on list? Your code will fail. You need to ensure like whatever data you are passing here, similar data you need to handle. So let's say if I say add of, I am passing here a list 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4. If I randomly pass data something like this, the code is going to fail, right?
Okay, sir, got it.
So whatever parameter that you are passing here, in same format, in same structure, and same number of values, you have to pass as a user. Let's take few more examples and it will be more clear. Okay, any other questions? Okay, fine. Okay, there is how many return we can take in a function? Just one return. The moment you say return, it will come out of your code or it will come out of your block. You can have something like this. You can have a return, let's say 1 comma 2 comma 3 or something like this, whatever. You can have this. So basically when I'm writing this, I'm saying return a tuple or return a list. This is fine, but there will be just one return statement and one return value. Okay. Okay. So this is
Yes, sir.
how, yeah. So this is how you write a simple function. If you do not specify this, so there are options like you may not be willing to have this return statement. If you do not have a return statement, your function will return by default some value. It will return some none or something, or void or none. It will return by default a value. Okay. So always have, like, recommended, always have a return value, because when you are writing a function, that function will be called from some environment. There has to be something returned by the function. So usually, like, if I write the same, one second. If I write the same function something like this, def add a b, and here I can say uh, print a plus b, and then I'm not giving any return statement. This will also work for me. I can say add 1 comma 2. This will work for me because inside I'm having a print statement. So the moment it goes inside, so when I'm calling this function, what is happening? From this line, directly it jumps to here, def add, because computer knows that I already have a function with name add. It will jump here and then it will run the executable, like whatever you have writing in that scripting format, one line by line of executable that you wrote. Similarly, line by line execution will happen within the function. So here you have mentioned print a plus b. This will work, but let's take this one now. If I say result equals to add 1 2, and then I say print result, and also let me add some string over here just to highlight that. So if you see this 3 is coming from print a plus b. This statement, print a plus b, is giving me 3, but return is none. I'm not returning anything. Okay, but it by default it is returning none for me. None is something like not defined, you can think of as of now. It is returning some none value for you, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. So
Sir,
from
in return
mhm.
function we can take a list.
You can take list, you can take tuple, all those things you can return. So let's take because most of the time I am seeing some questions related to list. I can say something like this. Let's say for uh, some test function, and I'm taking a parameter. I'm not taking any parameter here for sake of simplicity. Okay, and then I'm saying return. Okay, and return list of range of 10. So what this line will do? This will be numbers from 0, 1, 2, and so on till 9, right? So I'm returning a list. Let's call this function. This function is not taking any parameters and simply, sorry, def test. Okay. Now if I say test, see, the function is returning a list for me. Okay. So your return statement, like some values you can return. Maybe it is an integral value, a string value, a list. All those things you can do, but all you need to ensure is that you have only one return statement, just one return statement. Okay. Now let me give you some more scenarios here. Let's say I'm writing def test, and then here I'm saying print one and return 2, and then I'm saying print 3. Okay. Now if I call this function, and I'm saying result equals to test and print result. Okay. So what will be output on my screen? What I will be seeing? What will be displayed on my screen?
1, 2.
If I run this, I will get 1, 2. Now how I am getting these values? So if you see here, the moment I call the function, I'm calling this function, I'm invoking this function here. So the moment I call this function, the execution flow will jump to this function definition. Okay. Now here I'm saying print 1. So it will print 1, right? Correct. Then return 2. So from here, it will come out of the function. The moment it sees a return keyword, it will come out of the function. Okay. Now it will come back to the calling environment. So from here, it will come back here. And when you say return 2, the output of this executable, this code will be 2, and that will be stored in result. Now I'm saying print result, so 2 will be printed, and after that it's done. So this print 3 is never getting executed, right? So the moment you see a return statement, it will come out of the function, and any code after return statement will not get executed. Okay.
Sir, in line number 20, we are returning a list, but how it prints the list?
No. Yeah, that is what I'm saying. Like in Jupyter Notebook, by default, print statements are, I mean, I can just write test. I can call the function, and if I run this, it will give me it will print the list. In other IDLE, if you are using Python IDLE or your PyCharm or anything, all you need to do is add print. Oops, sorry. It will work. Okay. So whenever there is a list, you can print that. You can print, and it will print you in a comma separated file. So simple, like a equals to 1, 2, 3, and if I say print a, it will print me 1, 2, 3. That is how it works. Okay. Right. Now let's take another scenario. I'm having def add 1 a comma b, and then I'm saying return a plus b, right? I have already defined a function with name add, which is taking 2 parameters, and then I'm saying return a plus b. Now I'm giving you just a scenario. Okay. Let's say I am creating this addition functions in my software, in my application. Now the idea should be like, when I'm creating this add function, I will have this add, and then it will take parameters, and it should add all the values given in the parameter list, or when you are calling this function, whatever parameters you pass, it will add. So let's say I say add 1, 2 for now. It will add 1 and 2 and give me the result. If I say add 1 comma 2 comma 3, it will add this and give me the result. This is how my expectation should be. Can you guys keep yourself on mute, please? Yeah. Now, so add 1 2, I'm giving 2 parameters here, it adds and gives me the result. Add 1 2 3, it adds 3 values and gives me the result. Now let's say this function cannot work with 3 values. If I give add 1 comma 2, this will work fine, but if I give 3 values here, it will fail, because this function is expecting just exactly 2 values, right? This function is expecting just 2 values while I'm passing here 3 values. So the number of parameters that you have specified here, exactly same, like in ideal scenarios, exactly same number of parameters you have to pass while calling that function. That is the expectation. Okay. Now, if so, I may not be able to handle this scenario. I may not be able to handle add 1 2 3. So our next thought will be, okay, let's create another function with name add and define that with 3 parameters a, b, c. Okay. So let me write another function, def add a, b, c, and then return a plus b plus c. Now, if I run this, okay, this is working fine, but let me take, because in Jupyter Notebook, every cell you can think of as a different environment. That's why it's working. But let me take these two things together just in one cell and let me execute this. And now if I say add 1 2, it is throwing error to me because the last definition of add that I had was ABC. It is expecting 3 parameters. So what I'm trying to highlight here, or what I'm trying to show here, is in Python, you can have just one function with a given name. The name should be unique for the functions that you have written. Okay, so one approach can be, I can have functions created as add 2, add 3, add 4. That means when I am calling add 2, it will take 2 parameters. When I'm calling add 3, it will take 3 parameters. When I'm calling add 4, it will take 4 parameters, and so on. Now, if you think, if I design a application like this, how many functions the user has to remember? Here it is very simple, like I'm just using add 2, add 3, add 4. But there are multiple functions that a user has to remember, correct? So here is the concept of function overloading, where like you have a function and then some parameters you are passing, and even if you change the parameter, your functions will work. And this is today's assignment problem. So in Python, how we handle it, I will just explain. You just need to translate it to code. Okay. And similar problem was in one of the quiz on Friday, I believe, where like you had something like this: star of A, comma B, comma C equals to some 1, comma 2, comma 3, comma 4, comma 5. If I run this, B will be 4, C will be 5, and if I say A, it will be 1 2 3. So what it is doing is, I'm trying to uncouple 5 values in 3 parameters, but I have given a star here. So this star suggests that whatever is there, like here I have B and C, just which can hold just a single value. So from the end, it will pick 5, assign to C, it will pick 4, assigned to B, and whatever is left over, whatever is residual, will be assigned to A. Okay. Similarly, I can write this same example something this way: A comma B comma star of C equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if I run this, A will be 1, B will be 2, and C will be all the leftovers, that is 3, 4, 5. So if you run this, print A, print B, and print C. So with this star operator, you can uncouple more than one values. So similar idea we will use in our function to accept more than one value. So that's why I assign two stars. Like for uncoupling, usually you have just, there will be a conflict. Python will not be able to understand like what portion, what part should I uncouple for this and what portion I should uncouple. But we will take that examples. Okay. Again, I'm getting this question, okay, A comma star B comma C. All you can do is you can run these on ideally. I cannot be, so if I have A comma star B comma C and then equals to, so what is this doing? A, one value, the first value A will be assigned for,
A will be 1, C will
rest will be with B. But if you have such kind of questions, please run through those Python ideally. Take a simple example, run through the code. You will be able to figure it out, like why this is coming or.
so that this is there, but my question is if B will be 2, 3, 4, A will be 1 and C will be 5, the type B will be what type of variable?
B, definitely B will be a list,
List.
right?
And
Because
we should handle the, suppose we are doing a addition, then we should handle, because parameters we don't know in which way we will be sending them, whether the star will be with the B or A or C. So how to
hmm,
handle the addition with the list?
yes, so that is what I'm going to explain here. Okay,
Okay.
so def, and let's say I'm just doing test, and then I'm saying star of args. Okay, and for simple example, if I say print, so the star of args will be coming as a list, right? Now you can do for I in args print I. Simple example I'm just taking. Okay, and here while calling the function I will say test 1 comma 2 comma 3, and if I run this, it is printing 1 2 3 for me. Same like test 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5, it will still accept the 5 values and it will print 1 2 3 4 5. So just one function, and now it can take multiple values for you. Okay, so similar idea you have to use today in your assignment problem, where it can take multiple values. Now the question is
So,
clear. Yeah, hold on. Like now, is it clear? What do I mean by agnostic to the number of inputs? This is what you have to do. So like whatever number of inputs you give to add, it is simply going to add for you. Okay. Yeah. There was someone who was trying to ask a question. Yeah. Go ahead. Okay. You can post on chat group. I'm not getting. Who was that? Like someone was trying to ask some questions, I believe. I interrupted. Okay, fine. So clear, like you now have basic idea like how function will work and everything, correct? So the problem that I had given on day one, maybe you can start translating that to a function. So again, I will start with that same concept that I was saying, software architecture, design principles and other things. Like what you should consider while writing a function. One is do not repeat yourself. So in this problem, if you see in this problem, we had calculated this d value, capital D value, and then while calculating small d value, I had to use this larger D minus R to get the small d value. And let's say some of the code snippet like area that I calculated, this is my file where I have written this circle code. Someone else also wants, or maybe like I'm creating another code, another piece of code in some other file that is, let's say circle 2, and here I'm doing some additional changes like uh, whatever area I'm getting, let's say I'm just trying to double it. So double of area. Now, whatever I have written code for area, I have to copy paste the same code here as well. There is a better approach. Like if I had functions, all I can do is invoke those functions. I would have written the code just once and then start invoking that functions. Making sense? With functions, all I'm trying to do is packaging it, bundle. I'm just making a bundle of it. Every related things, I'm just bundling it together. That is one aspect of thinking. There are other things just to, I mean, it's not exactly what I'm saying right now, but just to make an analogy and make you understand, there are other principles. Like if you go through this solid principle, there is single responsibility. Like when you design a functions, what you need to consider, single responsibility. Here in this code, I am calculating area, I am calculating perimeter, I am calculating the bigger d value, I'm calculating smaller d value. Let's say tomorrow there is some change that I require to do in my area. I will need to go and touch this big code and make changes there. If it was encapsulated or it was a separate, like it was in chunks, it was in bits and pieces, it would have been easier for me to make those changes. So what you can do is for every calculation that you are doing, you can create a function for that. So from now onwards, like whenever you are solving assignment problems, try to create functions for all the problems that is given to you. Okay, and ensure that how you will create functions, like if there is one logic that you are writing, make a function. Do not include 2-3 logics in one function. It should be single responsibility. So one function, one responsibility. One function, just calculate area. Do not calculate perimeter, small d, bigger D, everything in one function. One function, one responsibility, one calculation, one logic. That is how you are going to write functions or create functions. Okay. Okay, let me give one a simple example. Def test 1, A, B, C, print 1, print, okay, def test 2, and here I'm saying print 2. Now, if I run this code, what will be the output?
One, three.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, let me run this code. Maybe you just write your answers on a pen and paper and you can validate that. And if you think the output that I'm getting here is incorrect, then we can discuss. Okay, or maybe like if you have written something different, then we can discuss. So everyone got 1, 2, 3? Or anyone is thinking that there should be a different answer? Okay, but let me explain like what is happening. So what I'm doing here is I'm calling function test1. So the moment I run this cell, I run this line of executable, the execution flow will jump from here and will go inside this function, which is test1. It will print 1 for me, right? It is printing 1. Then here I'm calling another function, test2. So from here, the execution will jump to this function and it will print 2, right? It is printing 2. After that, it returns. So when I'm saying return, it will return to the calling environment. So what was my calling environment? My calling environment was this test1. So it will return from this location to here. Right? Then I'm saying print 3, it will print 3 and then I'm returning. So after this, it will return where? It will return back to this place. Okay. And after that, I don't have anything. So print 5 will never get executed. Is the flow clear? So this is how the function flow will happen. Is anyone having any questions? You need to understand this flow thoroughly, okay? For functions.
1 second, sir.
Yes, I will do that, okay? Let me just clear this whole thing. What I'm doing, like when I'm running this cell, what I'm saying, run test1. I have defined test1 here. So from here, it will jump to inside that function, like test1, it will go to test1. In test1, it will print 1, it is printing. Then here I'm calling another function. So from this, it will jump to the location like where I have defined function test2. So it will jump here. Okay, now it is going to print 2. Then I'm returning. So when I return from this function, this return statement will take me back to where I had called this function test2. So it will come here. After this line, it will print 3 and then again it will return. So this return statement, like where I have called test1, I have called it here. So from here, it will jump back to this location. Now print 5 will never get executed, but let's say I had added here print 6. Okay, now if I run this, now what is happening? first executable, first line of code which is getting executed is test1. So from here, it will jump to this location. Then next line, it will execute this line of code. It will execute this. Then it will go to second line. Second line is calling this function. It will execute this, then return. So return, it will go back to the calling environment, go back to test2. Then next line of code, print 3, then return. It will come back again here and then print 6. That's why I'm getting 1, 2, 3, and 6. Right?
Sir, can you explain this once more?
Sure, I will do that. I will do that. Because this is important. You need to understand it thoroughly. Okay. See, when I'm calling the function, okay, the moment I give function name and the parameter, it will call the matching function where you have defined the function with the same name and same number of parameters. So from here, where it will go? It will go to this function. In this function, the first line of executable is print 1. It is going to print 1 for you. Then it will go to next line executable, that is test2. That is, it will call this function. It will go here. Now here I'm saying print 2. So it will print 2. And then I'm saying return. So I'm saying return from test2. Where to return? Return to the location from where test2 was invoked. Go back to that location. So this return statement will bring you back here. Okay. Now test, like once you are here, next line of executable will get executed. It will print 3, and then I'm saying return. So from test1, where to return? From wherever the test1 was invoked. So test1 was invoked from here, right? So it will come back here, and then next line of executable, that is 6, will get executed. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyone is having any doubts still? Like still, is there any confusion or doubts? Okay, perfect. Let me take another example. A equals to 5, B equals to 6. And then I'm saying def of test A comma B and return or let's say do print A plus B, right? And
Sir,
yes,
sir, where is the 6? There is no add statement, no?
one second, let me, yeah, come again. Where
Sir,
is the 6?
there
This
is
6
no
you're
add
talking about?
statement.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm not adding anything. I'm simply saying print 6.
sir, it is only printing only.
Yes, it is only printing, nothing else. I'm just printing 6. That's all.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Now for this example, what will be the output for this code? What will be the output for this code?
8.
How many of you think it will be 11? Is anyone who is thinking the answer will be 11?
Three.
The answer will be 3, but anyone thinks that the answer will be 11. If I run this, answer will be 3. Okay. Okay, but like if anyone thinks that answer will be 11, for them, I'm trying to clarify here. Like when you have these functions, So whatever parameters you specify here, they are isolated. They are isolated from whatever names A, B, C that you have defined earlier. Okay. So although like I'm using same named variable A and B outside these functions, but still the value for A and B going inside this function will be through these parameters, that is 1 and 2, not 5 and 6. Okay. Okay. Now there is a very good statement from Justin. He is saying if we pass no arguments, then it will return 11. Okay, that is a very good thing. Let me just highlight that. If I do not pass any arguments, that is, I do not pass anything here, and if I simply do this, if I run this, the answer will be 11. And that is correct, right? Because A and B is kind of, you can think of this as a global variable. The value, whatever you have defined here, the same values will be carried inside this function. Okay, but let's say if this function is in some different environment and you have A, B in some other, okay, let me not confuse you guys. But here, if you can see, because you do have no parameters, so whatever A and B was defined above this function, the same A and B value will be carried inside the function. Okay, but if I give A, B here, the scenarios will change. Now, this A, B is isolated. It is not dependent on whatever you have defined outside this function block. Okay. Can you be a little louder, or maybe just post your question on the group?
Okay, I'm now audible.
Still your voice is low, but I can hear. Yeah, tell me.
Sir, my question is whether where should be the position to declare the function? It is above the code or below the code? I mean, how the compiler will know where to start?
Yes, yes. Okay, very good question. Very good question. See, let me just try to rephrase it a little bit. So the question is where to define these functions. Uh, Correct me if I have not understood it the way you the question that you are trying to ask. So the question is, I'm saying def test, and then I'm saying simple function print1, and then I'm calling somewhere test something this way. I'm calling the function. So is this the way that I should be doing, or I should be doing test and then def test print 1, right? This is the question, right? The position of function and the invocation call that we are going to do, correct? Yeah. So let me just run this thing first. Although you are getting, okay, let me just give test2 here, because it is taking the test from our. Now if I run this, oops. Okay. Now, although in Jupyter Notebook you are seeing this kind of behavior, but if you try some of the IDEs, this may fail. Okay, this may fail. So different IDEs behave in different way. Let me just try to explain what is happening and uh, why it may fail in some of the environment. Okay, so it may fail in some of the environment because your execution will be going from top to down. In ideal scenarios, your execution will be going from top to down. Okay, and you are calling a function. You are calling a function which you have not defined or declared yet. Your computer doesn't know about test2, but you are invoking a function. So sometimes in some of the IDs, this is going to fail, saying that this function is not defined. Okay. Here in Jupyter Notebook, I mean, these cells are basically like they are not compiled because they are read first and then executed. It behaves a little bit differently. That's why it works. In some of the IDEs, it will work, but in some of the cases, it might fail because you need to define the functions before they are invoked. Your computer should know that there is a function with this name test, then only you can call it. So always make sure, even if it works in your IDE or it doesn't work, make sure that you define the functions first and then you invoke it. Always let your computer know like what all functions are there before you invoke them, before you call them. Else your computer will get confused. It will not be able to figure out that there is a function with name test2 that exists. Okay. I hope this is clear, and whatever I have covered in functions today, like we'll be discussing more in a little bit more detail. We will be seeing more problems, but this is the basic idea, simple idea related to functions that you need to use in all your assignments starting from today. Okay, I have already discussed one of the problem, the first problem which was there. Okay, similar like on similar lines, you have to just translate it to the to code for the assignment problem, where you will be using star of arguments. Okay,